Star Wars only, I don't know what the fuck your problem is.
In an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, Jon Favreau talks about his new live-action Star Wars show called The Mandalorian, and The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that there will be a trailer for this show coming out this Friday at D23, which I think is really good news for Star Wars fans. The Mandalorian will debut on Disney Plus this November 12th, and it will be a breath of fresh air to the Star Wars franchise with its new creative talent like Jon Favreau and like Dave Filoni directing his first live-action stuff ever. I mean, he's never done like a film or a show that's live-action. It'll be nice to see Dave do some of that work. Jon Favreau is writing and producing this new show, and in an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, he actually revealed a lot about making the show that I want to go over. So let's go through the best parts of this interview where Jon talks about The Mandalorian and other aspects of Star Wars. And believe it or not, the first thing they talk about in this interview about Star Wars is ironically the prequels. The interviewer tells Jon that when people hear the words digital production on The Mandalorian, they think, great, we saw digital production on the Star Wars prequels and it didn't look very good, and they ask, how is this The Mandalorian show different from the prequels? And here's what Jon says. Well, I would argue that the prequels are, and George Lucas in general is, the bedrock that all of this is built on. He is the first person that had digital photography. He was the first person to do completely CG characters. The whole notion of not even having a print, of having everything being ones and zeros was all George, not to mention Edit Droid, which turned into Avid. Pixar was spawned out of the laboratories at Lucasfilm. So he's arguably the center of the Big Bang for everything that I'm doing. It's building on the shoulders of what he was able to innovate. When George came to our set and visited The Mandalorian, he said, oh, we did this, and what he meant was, we had a green screen and we were building small sets and expanding upon it. Now we have video walls, NVIDIA video cards that allow refresh rates, that allow you to do in-camera effects. We're in there taking advantage of the cutting-edge stuff. If you notice, there's a certain look that the Mandalorian lead character has. There's a size that the spaceship is. There's a scale that lines up with the original trilogy. I'm trying to evoke the aesthetics of not just the original trilogy, but the first film. Not just the first film, but the first act of the first film. What was it like on Tatooine? What was going on in that cantina? That has fascinated me since I was a child, and I love the idea of the darker, freakier side of Star Wars. The Mad Max aspect of Star Wars. The interviewer asked him, people might assume that Disney asked you to figure out what Star Wars looks like on TV, but the opposite is true. You came to them, right? And then Jon explains how he came to Disney. He says, I wrote 4 episodes before I even had a deal, because I wanted to do this, but only if they wanted to do the version that I wanted to do. I had been thinking about Star Wars since Disney acquired Star Wars. When I was working on The Lion King, it was a full-time job for a few of the years. But there was a lot of time when I just had to be available for 3 very focused hours a day. The TV model allowed me to be an executive producer on The Mandalorian, which allowed me to, on my own time, write everything. It's like being a chef. You write the menu, you staff up with people who are great at what they do, you oversee and help guide the people who are actually cooking the food, working on the line, and then at the end, you plate. And then the interviewer asked him if that's why he didn't direct the Mandalorian episodes, and Jon Favreau replies with, that's why it worked well for Disney. Plus, Disney Plus is emerging, and there's opportunity to tell a story that's bigger than television. But you don't have the same expectations that a big holiday release has, which to me isn't that type of Star Wars that comes out of me. The type of Star Wars that I'm inspired to tell is a smaller thing with new characters. And as a Star Wars fan, this is what I want to hear. These are the kind of interviews I want to see people like Jon Favreau being involved with, because it shows to me that Jon Favreau is making this as a Star Wars fan, from a Star Wars fan's perspective. And the fact that he went to Disney, or specifically Lucasfilm, and pitched this idea to them. He wrote 4 episodes before he even got the green light. That shows how passionate he truly was about this project, and there's already going to be a season 2. They're already working on it. Production begins October 7th, I believe. So that means season 2 can come out next year, around the exact same time in November of 2020, or maybe even early 2021, and that's also the year we're supposed to get the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show that's rumored to happen. I think it's a great strategy to launch Disney Plus with The Mandalorian, a new live-action show, something that's never been done in the Star Wars universe, with someone like Dave Filoni directing and Jon Favreau writing and producing. It really goes to show that 2019 is an important year for Star Wars fans. Not only are we ending an era of Star Wars with the Skywalker saga that's finally coming to an end in this December, but also we're launching a new era of Star Wars. Star Wars that's going to be on live-action TV shows. Star Wars that's going to be a lot more easily accessible for Star Wars fans with the Disney Plus streaming service. Times are changing. The world is changing, and Star Wars as we know it will also change with it. And the question will be, Are the people involved with Star Wars in the future going to be like Jon Favreau? Or are they going to be fans of Star Wars creating these, from what I can tell, amazing projects? I truly am excited for The Mandalorian. And Jon Favreau is doing all the right things. He's building off of the foundation that Lucas built. He's giving credit to Lucas where credit is due, when a lot of people in Hollywood will not give Lucas credit for what he did with the prequels. And as you know, I'm no advocate of the prequels. I think they're very bad movies. But in terms of digital technology and innovative technology, in terms of what we make as filmmakers, that is what George Lucas did with the prequels. He innovated the industry with the digital technology and special effects that he had. Even then, that stuff's still relevant today, and obviously still impacting Star Wars with people like Jon Favreau, who's taking inspiration from people like George Lucas. I can't complain about this show. I mean, I really cannot come out to you and say something bad about this show right now. I really can't. I can only give you positive vibes from it, because that's all I'm getting from it. So I hope you check out The Mandalorian when it comes out. I will be checking it out. Tell me your thoughts below. Are you excited for The Mandalorian? Are you watching the trailer when it comes out this Friday? Tell me your thoughts below. I'm Star Wars only. Please leave a like because it does help out the channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you all next time, and may the Force be with you always.